Good evening, friends. Before we begin, a very gentle request to put your mobile phones on a silent mode or put them off. And this topic is like that we really want to, all of us want to listen to it uninterruptedly. So you'll appreciate that. Uh, it's a pleasure to welcome you all this evening. It's nice to see almost a full hall today on this Saturday evening on this wonderful topic, pursuit of happiness, science and spirituality aspects. Practically, who doesn't want to be happy? And this dimension, as many of you are aware in this auditorium, has been very well researched and presented at various forums by none other than Dr. Sudhir Shah, the renowned neurologist from our very own city, Ahmedabad. And before I hand it over to him, I'll give a brief introduction. Many of people in the city, of course, know him. He's one of the best neurologists in the whole country and acclaimed internationally, but nonetheless, I'll give a small introduction. Before that, I'd like to mention that this lecture, AMA has got various activity centers, almost 45 activity centers now, and this is held under the auspices of Dilip A. Shah AMA Initiative of Health and Wellness, which was sponsored in 2015 by AMA's past president, Mr. Dilip Bhai Shah, who is very much here. Thank you, Dilip Bhai, for this wonderful initiative. And we have had 5 other talks on similar good topics in the past under this center. About Dr. Sudhir Shah, as I mentioned, he's a senior consultant neurologist of Ahmedabad. He's a professor and head of department at the KM School of Postgraduate Medicine at the VS General Hospital, and also the director of neurosciences at Sterling Hospital, and also the honorary neurologist to His Excellency, the Governor of Gujarat. He has received many awards nationally, internationally, but the important ones include the national prestigious Padma Shri Award he got from the President in 2016, and in 2018 he was conferred the prestigious B.C. Roy Award in the category of Eminent Medical Teacher. Besides a neurologist, he is truly a multifaceted personality, a teacher, a writer, a musician, an orator, a well-read scholar, a prolific speaker, a scientist, a philanthropist, an occultist, an administrator, and his research on fasting as well as meditation are internationally renowned. He is a neurologist of high repute nationally. His work was filmed in a European and American documentary films, where he also featured in the film. He is also interviewed by BBC, Discovery Channel, CNBC, and other multiple international national TV channels. He was the organizing chairman of the National Neurology Conference, Nucleum, in 2015 at Delhi. He has delivered several keynote speeches and lectures in India, USA, UK, and so many other countries. Winner of local and national awards, as I mentioned, Dr. Sudhir Shah is an author of 4 comprehensive books, English, Hindi, Gujarati editions on public education in the complex subject of neurology. About 60,000 book copies have been sold, and he has donated all the royalty money to the poor and needy patients. Interestingly, he has his own library which contains approximately 9,000 books on philosophy, religion, ethics. And this topic today, pursuit of happiness, science and spirituality, he has delivered not only nationally but in other countries, in UK, in Japan, and you will realize in the course of the lecture that is involved in-depth research. See, he's, I think, combining his holistic view, combining the Western science and our Indian ancient wisdom. So we are looking forward to listen to him. And before he begins, I'll welcome him with a bouquet of flowers on behalf of all of you and AMA. Sorry, I'll invite Dilip Bhai. I'm sorry. Dilip Bhai, you should come and present the flowers to Sudhir Bhai, please. Okay, so now over to Dr. Sudhir Bhai.
Thank you. Wish you all a very happy evening. I think we should replace the word good is now, very old. We should happy evening, happy morning, okay? First of all, I would like to thank Shri Dilip Bhai, Mamta Ben, and the whole family for giving me this wonderful opportunity to interact with you people and spread the wave of happiness. As mentioned, this topic is not all about, simple happiness. It is a life science. So, very modestly and honestly, if I say whatever I have learned and imbibed through science and from my spiritual gurus, I think many of these things will be reflected in this presentation. It's a little long presentation, but I am 100% sure that you will enjoy each bit of it. My idea is to make India a very happy country, make all of you, my fellow men, my citizens, my friends, and all of whom I know more happy than they are right now. I think there should be a university of happiness. All colleges and schools should take classes on happiness. There should be a ministry of happiness. And in each conversation with each other, everybody should talk of only happiness. That is the way this subject can be propounded. I will start with a video.
Happy about, we were actually 18% less depressed than we are now. We have been taught that hard work equals success, which equals happiness, right? Wrong. Research proves happiness is actually a precursor to success, not the other way around. Did you know? Neuroscience proves that we are hardwired to perform at our best when we are happy. Studies show that happy, positive, optimistic people earn higher incomes, set and achieve more aggressive goals, experience less stress, remain calm in high-pressure situations, are more energetic, recover from illness faster, and live longer. Happiness is serious business. When we engage in positive, real-life relationships, our bodies release chemicals that actually help reduce anxiety and increase concentration and focus. How you feel and your attitude toward life all stem from your thoughts, actions, and where you focus your time and energy. Yet we are constantly surrounded by negativity. If we want things to change, we have to create the change. And we start by choosing positivity and happiness. Just imagine the possibilities if there were more happy and positive people in this world. A world with more peace, optimism, and compassion is possible. Like a pebble thrown into a pond, it only takes one to create the ripple of happiness. Happiness is so contagious and infectious that one positive person can spread happiness to more than 1,000 people. That means all it takes to create change on a local, regional, state, country, global scale is one person. And research shows that just by spreading happiness, you actually become happier. You can choose happiness and choose to share it. You can be the catalyst to spread it directly and indirectly. Are you that one? It starts with you, yet it's bigger than you. Happiness is bold. It is courageous, audacious, and challenging. You have the power to choose happiness and to spread it. Join the movement. Share the movement. Be the one who makes the difference. And live happy.
Give a big round of applause, please. Enjoy things, okay? So are you that one? Are you going to spread happiness? Yes. Okay, let's start. My first question to you. Do you want to be happy? Raise your hands, please. Then be. Very simple. If you want to be happy, who can prevent you to be happy? It is you who can make yourself happy. Most of the times we have a bad habit of blaming people and circumstances. I was a happy man, but that fellow did this to me and that circumstances did this to me. That's why I'm unhappy. Otherwise I was a happy man. It's not so. If you want to be happy, then be yourself. Because you are in charge of your happiness and not anybody else. Not a person, not any circumstances. So there's the first important lesson. You are in charge of your happiness and not anybody else. So don't play the game of Paul pushed me, etc., etc. Okay? You take the charge. Second important thing. Happiness is our conscious decision, our conscious choice. Third important thing. Happiness is a journey, it's not a destination. When I interact with many people and ask them, what do you think, when you will be happy? Most of the people end up telling, Dr. Shah, actually, if I get through this PhD degree, then I'll become happy. Or they would say, if I earn some 5-10 crore rupees, or I get that kind of Mercedes car, then I'll be happy. Somebody will come up with the idea that if my kids get married, I'll be happy. So till that time, your mind is set that you will not remain happy. So you have a fixed goal in mind, that's a destination, and till you reach that, you are wired that way that you don't remain happy. Now that's wrong. Happiness is a journey till the destination. From this moment onwards, one should wire our brain that way that we are happy all the way. And I know certain people who can do that. One is sitting in front of me, Mr. Sudhama. He's always a happy man. There is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. So you have to chart your own way. That brings to our important fundamental question of human existence. You know what Buddha told that this is called Arya Satya, 4 Arya Satya. He said, look, that there is a problem. Everybody has a problem. We are all unhappy. Dukh, har व्यक्ति को जन्म से मृत्यु तक दुख ही दुख है. So that there is a problem, right? Then he says, look carefully, there has to be a cause. If there is a problem, there has to be a cause. Then the third important truth he gave, if there is a cause, then there has to be a way. And then he said, finally, that if you follow that way, if you follow that path, you will get the solution. And our whole presentation is all about this. We'll chart our own path, and if we follow that, I think all of us will become happy. Look, pain is inevitable, okay? But suffering is optional. There can be pain, but whether to suffer or not, that is in our hand. So, what is the purpose of life? If we ask anybody, किसी को कुछ भी पूछो तो ऐसा ही बोलेगा, आपको क्या चाहिए? और क्या चाहिए? जिंदगी में थोड़ा सुख और शांति मिल जाए. Nobody gives another answer. The same stereotype answer. Everybody says that I want happiness, I want peace. Nobody else. Do you find any other man who says, no, I want unhappiness? Surely he must be mad. A sane man will never say otherwise. Everybody wants to live, everybody wants to be happy, and everybody wants to have peace. Ultimate purpose of life, if you ask anybody, is actually to enjoy, live happily, and make others happy. Okay? Is there any confusion in this? Right. So, nobody is perfect. When I'm talking to you, I must admit certain things to you. When I'm talking to you, it doesn't mean that I am the happiest person in the world. Nobody is perfect. We all are students. And talking in front of you from the podium, it may be looking easier to you, that it is easy to preach. But I have realized over the last 10 years that it is not difficult to practice also. If we really sincerely follow certain basic rules, I think it is easy to understand the concept of happiness and remain happy. Happiness is not really hypothetical. Don't give. But there are certain issues. Definition of happiness varies from person to person. Also, it is dynamic in the same person. Like today, I might be feeling very happy. After a few days, I might be feeling quite sad. And that is the real way happiness operates. We must understand that it is a journey, not a destination, but that dialogue we have to initiate right now. Like you have to write that essay. I remember an example, I was doing my DM examination and there was a question paper and on the front side was written, answer any three of following 5 questions. When we finished the examination, came out, most of us, we're doing, how did we write about, the exam, etc. Most of my friends told me, so it was a very easy paper. Though they have asked for only 3 answers, I have written 5 answers, etc. Very simple, easy. Then I said, what about the essay? Okay, where is the essay? Now, what happened? Maharashtra University at that point of time had forgotten to write PTO. And there was a single line essay just at the top that write an essay, which is compulsory, on CNS vasculitis. Now, that was a very difficult subject at that point. And with difficulty, I could answer, and I passed the examination. But because there was no PTO, many people did not look at the back. Friends, God has also given a question paper with remark that answer any 3 out of following. How to be healthy and well. 2nd, how to get the best education. 3, how to raise your family. 4, how to make millions of money. 5, how to become famous. Answer any 3. Most of us are so smart, we write all 5 questions. But the essay which is written, God is also not given PTO. He wrote an essay at the back. Write an essay which is compulsory, how to be happy and make others happy. And that question we don't answer. We don't attempt to answer. And essay is compulsory. I have started writing my essay. Better you also start doing that, okay? By the end of life, if you ask many people, I was telling to Mr. Radia that, when we ask people during life, they will all agree that they want happiness and peace. But at the end of life, when you sample, 100 people and ask them whether you could get happiness or not, most of them, 99% of them would say, no, doctor, I didn't get happiness, or I don't know, somehow I missed, although I knew the goal. So why this happens? This presentation will show where we make mistakes. So plan of my talk is, I will try to define happiness, then we'll study what is the psychology of happiness, what is the neuroscience of happiness, very interesting, why people are unhappy, what are the determinants of happiness, and how to be happy, etc., etc. So, happiness was defined by Aristotle this way. Happiness is the meaning and purpose of life, the whole aim and the end of human existence. It's a positive emotion, a persistent state of feeling of well-being, an attitude and a state of mind. So happiness is the end of it. There is nothing beyond that. Okay? In Indian classical spiritual texts, happiness is called sukh. इच्छित चीज की प्राप्ति, इष्ट प्राप्ति को सुख कहते हैं, और अनिष्ट वियोग, अनिष्ट चीज का दूर होना, उसको सुख कहते हैं. उससे उल्टा, इष्ट चीज का वियोग होना, जो चीज आपको चाहिए वो न मिलना, और अनिष्ट का योग होना, that is your दुख. So let's look at the psychology. Now we are having this kind of big brain. We are human beings, but actually we have evolved from reptilians, that is the smaller animals on the planet. जिसे आप सस्तन में सस्सा कह सकते हैं, रैट कह सकते हैं, वो सब एनिमल्स जो हैं रेप्टिलियंस है. उसमें their brain, this green part, had a reactive mode. They had to protect themselves from big animals like dinosaurs, etc. So they were always on a reflex that I want to save myself. So there was insecurity. And that insecurity is a part of human brain itself. So most of us have inbuilt anxiety, insecurity. Then we evolved into mammals like a cow, ox, bullock, etc. And there we used to have some basic emotions and family kind of feeling, etc. And there was some social memory, social behavior. And that part required a lot of bonding, rewards, appreciation, and if it was not there, the frustration, addiction, and depression comes. So the depression part of the human brain comes from the lower mammals, that is paleo-mammal system. We evolved into higher animals with the help of our thought, which the animals don't have, language, planning, empathy, etc. And that's why we have attachment. We have social hearts, we have friends, we have people to take care of us, and we take care of them. And if we don't get love, we become antisocial, terrorist, and people with psychotic behavior. So that is how जो दुख साइकोलॉजी की भाषा में कहा जाता है चिंता है, that is anxiety, ग्लानि, that is depression, and behavioral problem, that is psychosis. Okay, and that is because of the human brain's evolution. This you should remember at this point. So कोई साइकोलॉजिस्ट को आप पूछेंगे या साइकियाट्रिस्ट को मिलेंगे तो वो दुख को तीन ही तरह से बांटेगा. He will tell either you are anxious, you are depressed, or you are psychotic, and that is why you are unhappy. And accordingly, they will give you treatment. At this point, we leave this and we come to the next point. As I said, the definition of happiness varies from people to people. Some people, if you divide the cross section of the population, you will find that there are three groups. One, those who are spiritually awake, that is sattvic people. Those who are asleep, that is tamasic people. And in between, there are rajasic people. So your own personal definition of happiness will depend on which of these three groups you belong to. This is a pleasure, joy, or bliss. I'll take this in detail. What is pleasure? Pleasure is the tamasic, the animal instinct, for those who are largely asleep. If you ask certain people, "Tum kaise sukhi hoga? How do you feel you will get happiness?" This group of people, 80% of the people on this planet belong to this group. They'll say कि यार अच्छा न्यूजीलैंड स्विट्जरलैंड घूम के आए, कश्मीर जाके आए, या अच्छा खाना अच्छी नई रेस्टोरेंट में खाए, क्लब में जाए, ताश खेले, लोगों के मिल के कुछ वाइन ले. तो उनका जो वर्ल्ड है हैप्पीनेस की, उनकी जो सोच है, इट इज़ ओनली इन द आउटर वर्ल्ड, in the elements of senses, 5 senses, seeing, hearing, touch, taste, touch, etc. So here happiness is sought from outer world and characterized by pleasure. इसको हम गुजराती हिंदी में सुख शब्द जो ओरिजिनल है उसके लिए. ख इज इंद्रिय, सु मतलब अच्छा, इंद्रियों को जो अच्छा लगता है वो सुख. It is sensual, instinctual, it comes from within, inborn, and it's physiological. Why it is physiological? Because in a neurology language, it's like an impulse. Something comes, goes, and goes, dies down. That is instinct and physiological. But there is a problem here. It is always perpetual and demand for more and more, and that leads to inevitable pain. If you remember, our spiritual text used to say that इंद्रियजन्य सुख वो दुख की परंपरा है. थोड़ा आपको थोड़ा भी सुख मिला खाने पीने में वगैरह में, after a few hours you will always demand for the same thing or higher and higher thing, and if you do not get that, you will have inevitable more pain, which is disproportionate to the pleasant sensation that you had before. And the lack of that same feeling again creates a terrible desire of discomfort, and that is why Indriyajanya Sukh has lot of limitation. So where these people find pleasure? In 5 senses, okay? And when we do MRI, fMRI is a functional MRI study. It's a very wonderful tool. We neurologists do it. This is the visual cortex, which is at the back. Okay, so when you see beautiful picture around you, or you are in a New Zealand or Switzerland area, your occipital area, the area of vision gets enhanced secretion, increased blood flow, and improved metabolism. And if similarly for hearing there is another area, for taste there is another area. So that particular area would be enhanced and there will be increased activity. The chemicals important for this are dopamine and serotonin, and the fuel for that is noradrenaline. I know this is a medical jargon for you, but it's very important and you will realize why I'm telling this. So dopamine has a characteristic tendency of reward. When somebody appreciates the other person, that's called reward. Or somebody gets prize or some award, that is a dopamine activity. And that keeps the person going and going. But at the same time, if the same person does not get continuous reward or continuous appreciation, becomes more and more unhappy. That is the style of the world, And that reward molecule requires motivation. It induces pleasure and euphoria. It increases the motor activity because you have to achieve something, so you have to do running around, and there is a compulsion behind that and perseveration. And that requires mood linking with memory, so that is another compound. So blue is dopamine and this is serotonin. And where do you get this dopamine? The useful sources of building blocks for dopamine are apple, beet, cucumber, green leafy vegetable, honey, cheese, sweet peppers, watermelon, etc. Simple things. So if you are not feeling well, have a good amount of watermelon or an apple. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. But if the doctor is cute, forget the fruit. Okay? Serotonin. The next one is the confidence molecule, serotonin, mood, memory, etc. You must have heard a lot of times serotonin for mood. When you are anxious or depressed, doctors give drugs containing serotonin. And when you eat fruits, vegetables, cheese sandwich, chocolates, you get a lot of serotonins. Even a simple banana will soothe you out. Light stretching exercise, breathing exercise, listening to soothing music, this releases serotonin for the time being. So that is the level of pleasure. Then next is joy. Joy, pleasure is sukh, joy is santosh. So when you begin to feel happy for no particular reason, it comes from within as well as without, from outer world as well as inner world. That was physiological, this is psychological. Here there are desires, but they are refined desires. It is not only pertaining to those five senses, but it is also related to doing something good for the people, like through service to mankind, success, creativity, achievement, social interaction, building colleges, institutions, political career, and having a lot of money and institutions, awards and possessions, all these fall into santosh. This, as I said, half is from outside, half from within. And like creating this kind of gathering is also an activity of joy, santosh, right? For you as well as me and for those who have made it. So this is how santosh operates. So joy is human, it's a human activity. And here the Rajasic mind operates, like through achievements, medals, degrees, engagement. Now remember, here there is again a musical concert and somebody is singing. As I said, listening to music is an activity of pleasure. But when you create music, when I sing or perform, it is joy. So there is a difference. Engagement. And when I do fMRI of these people during this activity, a different area of the brain is activated, and this is a little smaller area than before, and that creates a little longer lasting feeling of happiness as compared to joy. It is also less perpetual than the other one. But again, most of the joyful activity requires output from outer world also. Like if I am giving a lecture and if you are not appreciating, then I might not feel so happy. If the big guys like Ambani's and Adani's, they are earning so much money, people are there to appreciate. If you don't appreciate, their money is worthless. So ego and appreciation is inbuilt with joyful activity, and therefore there is 50% requirement from the outside world. And the chemicals here, apart from serotonin and dopamine, are oxytocin, vasopressin, and prolactin. When the mother gives birth to the child and holds that baby in her hand and gives her breastfeeding, that is oxytocin. That's a bonding. When you are sitting with your friends, that is oxytocin, vasopressin. So that is the second level. Then third level is bliss, that is nijanan. Spiritual people, sattvic people particularly, they generally operate in this field. This is the highest state as far as the neurology is concerned. Here mind and its all activities start decreasing, and ultimately it ceases when the person enters into the permanent phase. Our consciousness becomes identified with universal consciousness. And here there is experience of just being. It doesn't make any difference whether the world is appreciating me or not, or whether there are people dancing in front of me or cursing me. It doesn't make any sense to me. I am just existing in myself. It's an existence feeling. It's a feeling of being. It's a kind of meditative state. It is totally self-dependent. There is no external input during that particular activity. And there are sages like Ramana Maharshi and Ramakrishna and Vivekananda, they used to operate in this phase permanently. So that is what we have to do. And that is called Nijanan. This is a fully awake state, pious persons. You know what? When you are in the realm of blissful happiness, you are given one package, and that is peace. 1 + 1 3. Inner peace refers to a state of being mentally and spiritually at peace with enough knowledge and understanding to keep oneself strong in the face of discord. Peace of mind is generally associated with happiness, bliss, and contentment. So even if you search for peace, if you look for peace, and if you try for peace, automatically bliss is going to come. So peace comes from within, do not seek it without. What can give you peace and happiness of bliss type? That is mindfulness practice. And if we do fMRI during this activity, a very small, less than 2 millimeter area of the brain is activated, is the posterior parietal lobule, and that secretes endorphin and enkephalin and certain hormones which are permanently keeping you, or a very long time keeping you a very calm, peaceful and blissful state. And the hormones here are different. They are no more dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, etc. These are endorphins, GABA. Have you heard about endorphin, GABA, any of you? Okay. So these hormones are the most pleasant hormones. Complex carb like pasta, breads and honey, etc. temporarily release endorphin. Eating spicy food, hot chili pepper releases endorphin. A routine aerobic activity, brisk walking, biking, swimming, or massage, that can also release endorphin. When I am talking of this massage, it's not Thai massage, this is a routine massage. Somebody stood up and asked, which kind of massage you are talking? The other molecule is endocannabinoids. It comes from cannabis, our routine bhang. I don't advocate you to take bhang, but bhang contains one chemical called anandamide. So bhang has many other chemicals, so I think it's a very adulterated thing. But if you remove only this compound, anandamide, the word has come from Sanskrit anand, meaning bliss. And that gives a real ecstasy and a kind of, salvation, etc. So people are working on separating this anandamide from the original molecule. So friends, we have learned 3 levels. Why different people have different thinking about happiness. The one is pleasure, the second is joy, and the third is bliss. So don't make any mistake, don't confuse yourself. When you go home tonight, think about your own level. Whether all your life so far you have sought for pleasure, or you have been looking for joy, or you are one who is really seeking bliss, the permanent one. And if not, you should always try to elevate yourself to the sattvic level. It doesn't mean that we should not have pleasure. I do enjoy music. I also go to different places, but as a human we require some animal instinct. As a human we require some rajasic instinct also. But we should not dwell on that. We should move higher and higher. That brings us to the next level of discussion. And what is that? And that is, can we really measure our happiness? Yes, there are tools. Who would know better than neurologists and psychologists? We have so many tools like magnetoencephalogram, fMRI, which I showed, positron emission tomography. You do SPECT studies, single photon emission CT scan. So these are different machines with which we try to locate your happiness and study the biology of your happiness. You know what? As I said, the pleasure remains in different area, joy has a different connotation, and the blissful activities represented in different part of the brain. So different components of happiness are found in different areas of the brain. That is, happiness does not seem to have a clearly defined neurobiological home. So let us find out who is more happy. Young people, middle-aged or old, married, single, man, women, spirituality, rich, poor, etc. There was a big study across the globe showing, which are the happiest people in the world. And it was found that Finland, North America, particularly Canada and the other higher areas, Bhutan, and some of the areas are in the highest happiness index. We were somewhere in the middle, orange. And there are countries who are far behind in happiness quotient. But that was mainly based on the standard of living and money related thing. When gender, men and women, as far as the level of satisfaction is concerned, both were almost same. But when compared in the very happy level, a long-lasting happiness level, I think females outnumber males. You know better why it is so. Females are higher biological gender. They are more evolved than man. Very complex structure. They are procreative. They can create human birth, and they have terrible emotional flexibility, and therefore they are more advanced than that. Spiritually, those who are more committed people, they are happier than the routine people. So we have almost done the background. Now we move to the next level, why we are unhappy. Okay? Friends, I want to tell you one thing, that most of us make a mistake that we try to equate our life with our business or profession, etc. Like most of us doctors, they think throughout the day and night we behave as doctors. With our friends, with our family, with our contacts. It's okay if we do that in our clinic or our hospital, but we should be able to remove that apron at the end of the day. We should behave like a child to our parents, like a parent to our children, with our spouse, our friends. That we have not learned. Friends, life is larger than medicine, profession or business. Whatever we are doing professionally or business-wise, just a part of the big ocean that is life. So we should not identify ourselves just as that particular professional or business person. And if we don't learn that, we will never become happy. You know what? At some stage of life, everybody comes at a crossroad. One road takes us to more success, more pleasures, more fame, professional awards, possessions, achievements, fame, etc. And this road, the other road takes us to religion, morality, philosophy, spirituality, goodness. And that is the road to bliss and peace. I think for everybody, there is a time when the decision of crossroad comes. Sooner the better. Always at every few months, check yourself whether you should take a little change. And even if you are on this road, try to balance with some of the activities, so that you can have bliss and peace. So why we are not happy? There are hundreds of reasons why we are not happy. Those who are in academics, they have academic stress, there is a professional career or business career or corporate stress, and then conferences, researches, and you have to look after your spouse, in-laws, parents and children. You have to have psychological issues to solve of yourselves and others. There are social issues, the issues of children, teaching, then interpersonal relationship, misunderstanding, competition, negative emotions, which are already there as human beings in most of us, like ego, jealousy. Then we all want to earn money, fame. Then we have to manage time. 6:30, the talk starts. 8:15, I have to leave somewhere in a musical concert. Traffic, mobile, social media now. That's a big invasion of us. Staff management and misunderstandings. And then at the top of it, legal issue, paperwork, demanding patient, caregiver stress. Then government issues, income tax, GST, demonetization, and elections and physical and mental health you have to balance in between all this, and fitness and beauty. So this is a very, very tough competition in amongst yourself. वो है ना अर्जुन को पक्षी की जो लेफ्ट आई को ही बराबर देख के मारना है वैसा है. It's very difficult. And then the social media, my God, how to get out of this nonsense. Myself and Dr. Gupta were discussing one day how the social media has affected our brain. Now we are no more humans. We are evolving into new generation of humanoids. We have lost our empathy, sympathy. We have frequent set shifting from WhatsApp to FaceTime, and from FaceTime to something else, and so there is a continuous movement in the mind. There is no steadiness. Your concentration is affected, your memory is affected, your social life is affected, your wife and children, they are all disturbed because of this weapon. So be careful. So that brings to the next level, determinants of happiness. Are you enjoying talk or not? Please raise your hand. Okay, fine. Determinants of happiness. Very scientifically, I'm trying to give you the balance. This talk could be just a spiritual talk, but I thought I should bring all the evidences in front of you, what science says and how it tallies, and that is why it is slightly longer than the usual talk. So the next is what determines our happiness. There was a big study, and at the end of the study we found out that 20% of the time our genes are responsible to make us happy or unhappy. Circumstances impact our happiness by 10%, because circumstances are in a large path of life, that particular incidence or circumstance is not going to stay for long. So it imparts only 10% effect. 20% effect comes from money, health, etc. However, 50% of our happiness is due to our attitude, behavior, morality, and spirituality. This is not what I am saying. This is the largest scientific study of 1 million people across the world. That is what is the outcome of this. So let us talk about the genes first. Some cause happiness wherever they go, others whenever they go. तो ये बूंद कहाँ आ गया आपने बीच में ऐसा छोड़ो उसको. That is what Oscar Wilde, the wisest doctor in the world, Oscar Wilde wrote that. Some people are born happy. I was talking about Sudham. Every time I call him up or meet, he is always in happy state. My friend Mukesh or Darshan, they are always happy. I mean, whatever problems they might be having in their life, but they have learned to remain happy and spread that happiness. That is, I think, genetic. I am really impressed. I want to take up the study regarding this Brahma Kshatriyas and Parsi community. You must be knowing that most of the Brahma Kshatriyas, they live beyond 85, 90, 92. Last, when I attended one of the funeral of a Brahma Kshatriya, the man had died at 83, and the people were whispering, "Yaar doho velo ukli ho gaye." In funeral also they were talking like this. So I think these people are always jovial. They just they cut jokes and they are healthy. They have anti-atherosclerotic gene, and that is genetic. And Parsi is also like that. Others are born difficult people. I just went to congratulate a boy in my neighborhood. He said he had top in the CA final, etc. So I went with a bouquet and a gift, and I said, "Oh, Mayank, you did extremely well." तो क्या है? अरे भाई मैं तेरे So there are people, rather than acknowledging, so they are genetically wrong people. But there is a good news. There is a good news. What neuroscientists have found out that there are 4 genes till now. We have found out that there are 4 genes which are responsible for your happiness. We met 2. These females have more: 5-HT-LPR, MAOI, and FA. So we'll touch this topic again. It's very important that with genetic therapy we can, really change the human world. The whole humanity can become happier just by attacking the gene. I'm sorry. So, but leave it apart. There are some ways and methods how you can change your genes. What is that? You can change your DNA with the mindfulness, meditation, altruistic action. You can change your genes, genetic coding, with thoughts, emotion, behavioral and situation. By constant practice of meditation or positive thoughts, etc., you can unlock the genetic code and you can actually change your genes. This was not so before 2013, but after epigenetics was discovered, there were lots of new literature coming up on this area. So with a constant practice, all of us have a capacity to change the expression of the gene. Even though we are genetically wired in a different way, we can actually affect our genes. So, and that can release the happiness molecules. And when I was talking about this gene, there is an experiment going on. Like, it might so happen that after 10 years, if you come to my clinic, I will take your blood and put on the slide on a computer, and immediately my computer will decode your genes, and I'll be able to study whole genomic pattern of yourself. And then if I find that these genes are defective after 10 years, what I'll be able to do, I will take a syringe. With the help of nanotechnology and robotics, I'll be able to put something in your system. After half an hour, it will affect your genetic code, and maybe after an hour when you walk out of my clinic, you'll be a happier person. So, but you have to listen to the rest of the talk for this next 10 years thing, till we do that. After then, I think we'll change your genes. After 10 years. It's not absolutely a joke. There is some concrete work going on that we can definitely, scientific work is going on that. So, genetics and then circumstances. Most of us are in habit of doing, over commitments. If we reduce our commitments and we reduce our interaction with haphazard people, wrong people, I think we'll be happier. Lord Mahavir taught Sanjog Mula Jivena Patta Dukha Parampara. The more you know people, the more you interact with people, the more you interact with situations and circumstances, there will be cascade of events which will make you more and more unhappy. Why so? If I don't know any of you, then your problems will never be my problems. I will not be involved, and therefore I won't be unhappy. But since I try to know you, when I understand you more and more, I get more attachment, and that is the reason. Then brings to most important question, how money affects happiness. Money produces short-term benefits. More money will not raise well-beings. Today only I was reading a good sentence that if God gives you more money, you should try and help more people rather than raising your standard of living. With more money, you can raise your standard of living. Rather than that, you try to help more people, and that will make you more and more happy. So this study was regarding income and happiness in United States. Now, as you can see, that with increase in real income per head, per capita income when increases, the happiness index does not increase. To some level, yes, there is a proportionate increase of happiness, but then it actually falls, and then, so more money, according to research, does not bring more happiness. Sometimes it brings more unhappiness. Money can bring security as well as comfort and pleasure, yes. It can bring improved standard of living and education, yes. But money corrupts. Money can corrupt us, success corrupts us, and they may take away our morality, relationship, health, bliss, and peace. So we have to decide, really, we want more money and more success, or more bliss and more happiness. What do you remember? Applause dies away. When you clap for somebody, that dies within few seconds. Trophies gather, somebody has got some awards and, appreciation. If I ask you, who were the Nobel Prize winner last year, you will hardly remember one name, maybe one or two, if at all. It is the matter of least concern for us who has achieved what. Yeah, it gives a tremendous momentary excitement, but it doesn't make any sense to you. Winners are soon forgotten. But what you remember, you will always remember. Yes, Deveshwar helped me. Yes, Gupta Sahab helped me in my difficult time. He took me to President of India, and that's why I could do research. So we remember only those 5-10 people who have helped you in your life. At the same time, our human brain is such that we will also remember those people who have hurt you, which we should remove. Only remember those who have helped you, and that will make us more happy. So happiness is not something that happens that money or power can command. It is only by controlling our inner experiences that we can become more happy. Happiness cannot be reached by searching it consciously. So we move to the third level. We have seen what is the determinants of happiness, and now how to enjoy. So keys of happiness. This is the most important part of my talk. After learning all this, we have to find out the way that there is a problem, that there has to be a cause, then there has to be a way. And this is the way which we are talking. Physical, social, moral, mental, religious, and spiritual. These are the different keys. So first is physical. Pehlu sukte jayate nere. Good health, eat right, do exercise, get enough sleep, good excretory functions. One bottom line, live elegantly, love abundantly, and laugh exhaustingly. Learn to relax and love people. Get enough sleep, do walking. You must have good diet like fruits, nuts, vegetables, pulses, liquids. यहाँ कहीं pizza, pasta और भारी चीजें नहीं लिखी है, but this is how, if for brain and heart, the real thing are fruits, nuts, and vegetables. And the best diet in the world, do you know, any of you? Mediterranean diet is considered the best. You study today from the net what is Mediterranean diet. No excitatory things, do some resistance training, weightlifting, and venting with a friend. Every few days you should meet your friend and vent out. I am lucky to have wonderful friends from my childhood days and from later on also. And I don't know, Divyang is here. So we have wonderful friends across, and these people make me happy. Then we do yoga, massage, and laugh frequently. Smiling is the main way to tell someone is happy, but only if they are real smile, not pseudo smiles. No political smiles, real smile. Smile solves many problems. Believe me, smile solves many problems. And laugh frequently, but laugh at your own self. How silly of me, Sudhir, you made a silly mistake, not at others' mistake. So you should learn to laugh at your own selves. Laugh from the core of your spirit and not in artificial way. And silence. Silence avoids many problems. Okay? With all due regards, my friends, silence avoids all problems. and love abundantly. Okay, this is a profound statement. If you spend your life in judging people, then when will you love them? Life is too short, friends. Love people, don't criticize. We have a bad habit of criticizing this fellow and that fellow and the other fellow and the next fellow. No. You find out what is good in them and love them, because life is very short. The rewards of love. When you love or appreciate people, there is a reward in the brain, this rostral midbrain posterior area, and there during the minutes of appreciation and love, there is increased blood flow in a very pointed area, rostral midbrain, and that secretes tremendous amount of blissful hormones. Autonomic nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system gets activated, and that's how every day you have to love and appreciate people. If there is a biological home for the happiness which we have discussed so far, there will be drugs, surgery, etc. And yes, if you are psychologically sick, we discuss anxiety, depression, and psychosis, then you should take help of a psychiatrist. You do counseling also. Then there are mood elevators also. If you have a chronic pain, you will not feel happy, so you remove your pain with the help of pain specialists. In future, there are new surgeries coming up called deep brain stimulation. If you put those electrodes in particular area of the brain, there is an ongoing study that will make you feel much, much happy. It's called functional neurosurgery. It might help also. Like genetic therapy, this is also upcoming area. There is something I want to tell you about this, business of happiness. Happiness is a serious business, but it's a lucrative business for people, who sell God helmet. This is available in America. I was going through, San Francisco streets, and this helmet was available. I took a photograph. It is worth $60 at that point of time. And then I was traveling from Canada to America, and there was a big landslide, and we were stuck on the road. The whole roads were blocked. What happened? We saw that for nearly 2 to 3 hours, there was hardly any movement of the cars. My co-brother who was driving the car, he pulled out this from his pocket every 5 minutes and used to do 2-3 times. I observed, and then I literally seized this matter. What is this? Well, that contains oxytocin. If you remember, we discussed about hormone of bonding and joy, and that is oxytocin. This is an over-counter medicine available in Canada. So if you feel quite, cozy, and you don't feel well, and if you are stressed out, you feel fine for 5 minutes. That gave me a brilliant idea. So all of us have so many emotions. Like somebody is angry, then I will manage to get some other chemical and push in his nose, and that fellow will become calm. Or somebody is jealous. What all you have to manage is to pour that chemical, particular, There are serotonin chemicals, dopamine chemicals, oxytocin, all that. So maybe this would be $1 billion industry tomorrow. And that's how the Oxycam was. And so that's how I accidentally came to know. And that God gene, particular gene has been discovered, which confers the spirituality in a person. Happiness also improves all your lot of disease like arthritis, allergies, asthma, coronary, etc. So if you remain healthy, you remain healthy also. So it doesn't cure you totally, but to good extent, many diseases, including all those lifestyle disease, dietary disease, and psychosomatic disorders, their happiness is very important. So we are trying to evolve the keys. We look at the physical keys, some of the moral keys. Then there are pleasant activities that we can, that can help us becoming happy, like music, dance, art, creativity, traveling, reading, gardening, grooming. For each of the topics that I am discussing, right from, keys, different keys, on every single, like for music, we can have 1 hour discussion. And the things that evolve from the discussion can give us tremendous strength, understanding, and make our lives happier. Anyway, today I am just giving you a crisp of all these things. So these 5 activities are giving, a sense of pleasure to us. Music is the string that vivifies your soul and fills its emptiness. It relieves stress, anxiety, alleviates depression, improves cognitive abilities, and heightens concentration. Immediately after this talk, I am going to go to Surangan Club for a musical concert. So music is something which makes my life very, very rich. Music is the medicine of mind, and so is with you. And different ragas, they have their own effect on the brain waves pattern and improve circulation in a particular area. So that's how the music operates. Traveling, you know very well. We travel not to escape life, but for life not to escape us. Reading a library is a hospital for the mind, so you must read daily. I am not talking about this WhatsApp knowledge. I am talking about the real good books, okay? And good books like Dhanvan Dhavani Amok Kala, Tata Sukh Sadhak Vidya. These are the books. This book was written about 150 years before, and then it was reprinted a few years back. All the bestsellers that you see from West coming, in this last 10, 15 years, most of them have taken their original ideas from this book. So catch hold of this book. These are the wonderful books in our literature. Gardening also helps, grooming, photography. Then we come to more important, subtler areas, that is important relationships. So there are some important relationships which can make or break your life. One is married life, second is relation with the children, relation with in-laws and parents, relation with friends and professional or people at work. Now, happy married life, I think is an oxymoron. Happy and married, people say it does not go together. It's not so in my case. I'm lucky. Though she's not here, I'm telling that I'm so lucky. But there is something important. The key to a happy marriage is, what is marriage? It's a way through which two people join together to solve the problems they never had before. There were no problems before. They join, create problems, and then they try to solve. That is marriage. And there are several keys how you should make and balance your life. What does a woman want? Google would not answer your question, I'm sure. It's unsolved. But I came to know very precisely, they want to be understood, they want to be loved and cared, they want to be validated, they want to be accepted, and they want freedom. Do these beautiful women agree with this or not? Please raise your hands. Yes, so women agree. In return, what does a man want? Leave me alone, okay? So there is no match, and still you have to balance. Happiness for children, no, by giving money and high standards, you can't make them happy. If you want to really make them happy, give your time. Give them education, knowledge and art and hunar, culture and attitude, wisdom and art. Money and inheritance will not make them happy. They will corrupt them. Happiness conduces to long life. You live longer if you really remain happy. Happiness and friendship. A person doesn't need a large number of friends to be happy. He needs only one or two best friends. And as I said, I am lucky. So after the relationship, we move to the next area, and these are virtues. A more subtle field. There are 5 virtues. It's all based on neuroscience research, okay? There's nothing that I am proposing. It's all there in our books, in standard neurological literature, different part of the world, different stray literature. I have compiled that together. One is gratitude, second is appreciation, third is forgiveness, fourth is kindness and compassion, and fourth is acceptance. Gratitude is a very big virtue. Don't underestimate this. Gratitude is one of the sweet shortcuts in finding peace of mind and happiness inside. Even if your servant brings a cup of tea for you on your table, thank him. Thank him profoundly from the core of heart. That is gratitude. Not for those people who have done great things for you. Start acknowledging and thankfully telling them explicitly, in words, No, thank you very much. That is the gratitude. And feelings of gratitude release positive endorphins, which we discussed, blissful chemicals throughout the body, creating health. Same way, appreciation. Appreciate people. We talked just before a few minutes. Appreciation releases certain chemicals in rostral midbrain. Appreciate people from the bottom of our heart. Every person on this earth has some virtues which are better than yours, some art which is much better than yours. Appreciate them. Maybe the filthiest, smallest person or the highest order person. Appreciate each and every person. So thank and appreciate. Appreciation is a wonderful thing. It makes what is excellent in others belong to you as well. There is a conspiracy that operates that you can imbibe those virtues just by appreciating. I don't have enough time to discuss all it, but I'm sure you're all intelligent people and you know what I'm talking. Be verbal in acknowledging your appreciation. Then forgiveness, very important. The first to apologize is bravest, the first to forgive is the strongest, and the first to forget is the happiest. It is always good to be right. It is nice to be right. But it is more nice to be kind. Rather than, being right, you try to be kind and forgive people. I like this share of Ghalib very much. हमने जिंदगी को यूं ही आसान कर दिया. हमने जिंदगी को यूं ही आसान कर दिया, बहुतों को माफ कर दिया और बाकी से माफी मांग ली. So clear all our accounts today. Write off the account. जाके माफी मांग लो और बाकी को माफ कर दो. And first to apologize is the bravest. Help others, kindness, compassion. You don't have to, give $1 million to somebody to show your act of kindness or compassion. Just helping cross the road or opening a door, or somebody is carrying a huge weight, trying to unload him partly. This is an act of kindness. This is compassion. And compassion cannot be taught. And compassion is infectious. If you start doing compassionate activity, others also will follow you. And I want that all of us do some good activities for others, maybe the smallest activity. We should do it from today and spread that way. Help me in doing that. Acceptance. God grant me the courage to change the things I can, and the serenity to accept the things which I cannot, and the wisdom to know the difference. I cannot change the whole world. I cannot change my student also. Can't change my child also. But you should at least tell them, if they find good, they would follow it. Otherwise, keep mum. So that art we have to learn. Cultivating an attitude of non-judgmental acceptance is not resilience. So what is the mathematics so far we have learned? Mathematics of happiness, if you divide your happiness, if you share happiness, it doubles. So happiness is not something that can be divided that way. It increases, multiplies. And if you have more desires than what you have, more objects you have than desires, I think if your desires are more, your happiness will be how? So if you have 2 cars and if you want 4 cars, then your happiness is 50%. But, okay. So, and if your reality does not match your expectation, then happiness is gone. So, I think so far we have covered up the 4 things. Now the last part of my talk. In the classical material world, one has to gain something to get pleasure, while in the spiritual world, one has to lose to get bliss. Yeah, giving conscious chahiye. In spiritual world is a different world. There are 3 worlds. Physical world is called meta world. Macro world, you can say. Then mind world is a micro world. And spiritual world is a quantum world. It's a very micro. The attributes are different. They have different laws. And unfortunately, in the religious discussion, no spiritual discussion comes up. That is the tragedy, irony of our society. What we have to learn is spirituality, not only religion. Religion is an entry to, spirituality, but we are all goofed. So the first principle is that the one who loses and gives is the winner, 1 by 1. The material way is to search for happiness outside, while the spiritual path seeks happiness inside. There is no happiness outside, okay? Spiritualist teaches you how to remain happy from within. Because I said that is all from within. There is no input from the external world. It's within. So that is what spirituality teaches. In the physical world, macro world and micro world of mind, you generally have some exchange. Like if I want to buy a car, I will have to deposit some lakh rupees and then I can get a car. Or if I want a bungalow, I have to give money or some gold. So there is an exchange of certain things which you possess. And in exchange you get a particular thing. In spiritual world, there is no exchange. Whatever you deposit, you will get back. Very important, fundamental law. Like if you want happiness, you have to deposit happiness. If you want peace, you have to give peace. If you want respect, you have to give respect to others. If you give hatred to others, you will only get cruelty to you. If you do injustice to others, you will only get that. And that, rule number 4, it will come in multiple quanta. You don't know. It will be infinite. If I give respect to Mr. Adiyar today, a little, say 5 unit, it will come in 5,000 units from the other side. So respect comes from different corners, unidentified quanta, unimaginable quanta, infinite quanta. So is with happiness. If you give little happiness to somebody, you will get tremendous from others. So that is the spiritual law. And that you will hardly find in any of the discussion or discourses. These are the most secret rules kept in our spiritual texts. If you read the original text, you will understand how these rishis have perceived things, and they wrote all this in our big texts. The most important rule out of that, the spiritual path defines the cause of miseries and then shows ways to eliminate, while material way tries to find object of happiness in the external world. Let me explain you. Like we exist in 3 forms, body, mind, and those of us who believe in the soul. Now, at some stage, at the end of 50, 60, 70 years, we realize happiness is not outside. We tried everywhere in different places and different objects. We never realized that, happiness doesn't lie here. Then ultimately we find that no, happiness doesn't stay outside, it is somewhere inside. So the peace and happiness is inside, that is how you know. But how do you come to know? A spiritual guru or spiritual text can guide you. The most fundamental rule of spirituality is that you yourself are equipped with total bliss and happiness. But there is an entity called mind which corrupts you. What are the business of mind? Aspirations, desires, thoughts, emotions, rag, dvesh, attachment, your mind dwelling between past and future, your ego, your attitude, and avidya. These are the layers on your blissful state of the inner consciousness, and above that all these layers are there. These are the activities of mind. And those who have a quest for real happiness and bliss and peace, they realize that the culprit is mind, and we have to work on that. And the only way that the spiritualists have affirmed 100% is meditation. So let us look at all these processes. We have to work and try to improve the basic fundamental processes of mind that creates the unhappiness for us. Number 1 is attachment, number 2 is thoughts, desires, third, emotions, and attitude and ego. Attachment. As a water bead on a lotus leaf, as the water on red lily does not adhere, so the sage does not adhere to the seen, the heard, the sense. That is what Buddha said. Remain unattached. It's difficult for us, in our human world, that we remain totally detached, but we should try to at least detach from the circumstances and people who do not matter to us. No, you only lose what you cling to. Second is thoughts. We are what we think. All that we are arises from our thoughts. Our whole universe is what? My universe is my thought. your universe is your thoughts. So from our thoughts, we create our own universe. That's a very interesting concept that quantum consciousness has now defined, that the whole world for a person is only based on his thought. Okay? And if you work on your single thought process, you start, improving your world, your happiness. And when we try to study the thought process in the brain with the SPAC machine, what we realize, with each single thought, a particular area of the brain gets activated. Don't think that your thoughts are abstract, that we used to believe in 95 or before that. After the invent of the SPAC machine, we can actually measure and quantify each and every single thought of a human being and actually map that in the machine, and that is called SPAC machine. So your thought, particular thought is generated, suppose it's a positive thought, it will immediately circulate in your whole body. Your heart functions in different way, your lung function differently, liver function differently, kidney function differently, your immune system works differently. Not only that, that thought has a capacity to go to the universe and ricochet there and come back. So your single thought has that much power. So don't underestimate your single thought. Not only that, your word. Sometimes we speak loosely, बेचार गाड़ो कोई ना पी दिए ने गमे तेम बोलिए. No, you can't do that. That's not your business. Your single word will go to the universe and come back to you with the 100 times more bad effect to you. So use your words very cautiously. And that's not what I say, this is what science says. Your each thought you have to guard, your each word we have to guard, your each action we have to guard. Then next we come to desires. There is no fire like desire. There is no weakness like anger. And there is no limit of our desires and ambitions. So what is ambition? When ambitions end, happiness begins. Amount of balance in the bank at the time of your death is the extra work that you have done which you should not have done. આપણે ઉકલી જઈએ ત્યારે બેંકમાં 5-15 કરોડ પડ્યા હોય એ ખોટી મજૂરી હતી. That we should have not done. That we should realize. ઈચ્છાઓ રહી જાય અને શ્વાસ ખૂટી જાય તેને મૃત્યુ કહેવાય. ઈચ્છાઓ રહી જાય અને શ્વાસ ખૂટી જાય તેને મૃત્યુ કહેવાય. ઈચ્છાઓ પૂરી થઈ જાય અને શ્વાસ રહી જાય રહી જાય એને મોક્ષ કહેવાય. So this is how we should control our emotions, our desires, ambitions. Attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. Always have a positive attitude. Win anger by forgiveness, conquer ego by politeness, defeat deceit by transparency, and overcome greed with gracefulness and charity. So the simple formula so far is stop comparing, stop expecting, stop criticizing, start sharing, start helping, start loving, give and forgive, count blessing and enjoy every moment. Then is the final station that we are discussing, your religion and spirituality. Ethics, everybody has to follow ethics, and then there are spiritual practices which can give you a final touch. So spiritual reading is a must. Satsang or meeting people with same mind, yes. Chanting and devotion if you feel like. Prayer is a must, and meditation. So I'm sure most of you are connected to some or other spiritual kind of people or guru or whatever. So you do daily spiritual reading. Rather than wasting your time on WhatsApp and Facebook, rather spend half an hour at least, shift from here to here and concentrate reading on that. Philosophy of karma, satsang, chanting, all these things are important. And prayer is not a business. No, that is not a business. Prayer is a very serious business. Prayer means, God Almighty, I surrender to you. You are such a great person with such a wonderful virtues and all those things. I am a poor creation made by you. I want to be like you. Give me strength to become like you and make all people and all animals on this earth happy. That is the prayer. And when you do real prayer, what happens? There is a reward. In the limbic system, there is increased cerebral blood flow, increased metabolism, and that immediately releases certain hormones which makes you calm, serene, Your pulse rate goes slow, your breathing becomes slow, your blood pressure falls down. If you continue prayer for at least 10 to 15 minutes, this physiological effect has been documented 100 numbers of times. So this is how even physiology and neurologically prayer holds. Yogic people assent on Gyan Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Raj Yoga, which I'm sure you will read up, and I think we don't have enough time on this. But the last point that I want to make is on meditation. Friends, if one thing I have to tell from this platform today to you, or if one gift that I want to give to you is meditation. Learn meditation, whatever way, whatever method or whatever technique you adopt, you do meditation. There are simplest ways also, and then for more ascended people, there will be higher ways also. But meditation is a must. As it is important to bath your body every day, brush your teeth and wear clothes and scent yourself, it is fine. Similarly, for mind, you have to do meditation. It is a bathing exercise, it is a cleaning exercise, it is a adoring exercise, you can say it is scenting exercise. Meditation is a must. Our whole day we pass in, 99% of the time we pass for the activities related to body, but we don't take care of our mind and spirit. Forget spirit or soul for a minute. For the mind also, if you do meditation, I think it will change your life for good. And I tell you, music, attitude, sense of appreciation, sense of gratitude, and learning meditation. These 5 things changed my life for all great things. All abundance, all love, affection, respect that I got is from all these. Thanks to my friends, my family, and my gurus who taught me all those things. So meditation is an antidote to stress. And this is a very profound statement again coming up. Rumi was a very great Sufi saint from Turkey. He wrote a single line, नानुशु एक काम कर, छोटा सा एक काम कर, तेरे अंदर तेरी तपास कर, तारी अंदर तारी तपास कर. Do me a little favor, search your own self within yourself, and that is meditation. नानुशु एक काम कर, तारी अंदर तारी तपास कर. And it's not that meditation is only a property of Indians. There are meditative practices all across. This is a Chinese Tao Chi meditation, Qigong they call it. Simple balancing exercise, controlling first physique and then mind. And that's how they do meditation. So there are n number of meditative methods. And you can do meditation by focus on breathing, focus on object, focus on sound, thought, sensual objects, sensory perception, imagery, solve. We can talk on meditation for 3 hours at a stretch. This is such a vast subject. This is a Sufi meditation. Sufi Darweshis, they are just dancing, they are identifying their consciousness to the universal consciousness. And they look at the dance, the divine dance. That is a Sufi meditative technique. And there are so many other techniques, meditation like Patanjal, Dhyan, Anapanasati, Smriti Vipastan, Vipassana Dhyan, Preksha Dhyan, Jain Dhyan, so many. And I'm sure many of you would be knowing a lot of things which I already told, and many of you would be doing meditation also. But those who are not doing, please start this is my request. And when you do meditation, what happens? That is something great. With this, these are last 5 minutes of my talk. This is an area of the brain here. If you remember in the first initial slides, I showed how human brain evolved into a massive thing because of our thoughts, our intelligence, our memory, executive capacities, all these things, humans have already started ruling the planet. And that is because we have this area called prefrontal area. This prefrontal area is responsible for our executive capacity, planning, judgment, higher memory, intelligence, and all activities like language and thought and memory. Now these, during meditation here, the red thing which you are seeing is before meditation, there is baseline, and after meditation, there is increased blood flow and increased metabolism in this area. What does it mean? It means if you do meditation, your capacities of intelligence, judgment, memory, language, and executive function improves profoundly. And if you do it daily over a long time, maybe say a few years, you become a very, very evolved person. We can say a pragyavan purush, and that is the effect of meditation. At the same time, there is something else. Remember, I told you why we are unhappy from spiritual viewpoint? Because of our thoughts, our emotions, our desires, our attitude, ego. And spiritual practice is to remove the cause of miseries. And if you remove all those things like bad thoughts and emotions, etc., you become a happy person, because happiness is inbuilt in the soul, in the inner consciousness. So because of the activities of mind, it is gone. But during meditation, this particular area of the brain, if you see, the red part becomes less. So here during meditation, the activity of mind becomes dull and slow and less and lesser. Orientation to time, place, person, thoughts, desires, ego, attitude, all is manifested from this area. If I take your 1 minute, orientation to time, place, person is what? Like I'm talking in front of you, it is nearly 6:45 or something in the 80 Parek Hall, AMA. Today's date is 23rd and is Ahmedabad city. This is my orientation to time, place and person. You people sitting in front of me, intelligent people. I am manifesting because of my orientation to time, place and person, and therefore I manifest, that is ego manifests, right? And therefore my desires manifest, my thoughts manifest in a different way. What I am trying to tell, during these higher meditative activities, the whole area is shut down. Here is your orientation to time, place, person. That no more exists. You don't exist in front of me. There is no dimensions of time or place. So I am within myself, or I operate in universal mind, and there is no barrier in between. And that is why my thoughts are serene, my emotions are good, my desires are sublimed, and I am not manifested ego-wise. That is the beauty of meditation. So these meditators in this trance state, they don't have any kind of desires or egos, and therefore they remain in tranquil state. And if you do fMRI, as I said, it remains in a specific point where the consciousness is supposed to reside. One of the areas, finest area of the brain where they say consciousness or God point, G point operates is this. And that's why, friends, meditation helps you both ways, make you a very profound person, at the same time very humble and nice person, and it removes all the miseries. So we should do meditation. Also, meditation improves attitude and personality. It makes us more compassionate. And my closing remarks are, I want you to read this line by line. The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It is more important than the past, than education, successes, than what other people think or say or do. It is more important than appearances, giftedness or skill. It will make or break a company, a church, a home. The remarkable thing is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we will embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. Can we change our past? No. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. People will behave in the way they want. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is to play on the only string we have, and that is our attitude. I am convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. So it is with you. So we are in charge of our attitude. And friends, meditation changes our attitude. The meditator looks the world in a different way. Everything we hear is an opinion. What I am saying is my opinion. It may not be the fact. Your fact may be different. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. Your truth may be different. Find your own truth. Everything we feel is a perception, not the reality. And everything is subject to change. So be judgmental and strive after truth. Strive after your own truth. Osho said, I am not here to teach you everything, but I am here to awaken you. Vivekananda ji said, wait and meditate till I call you back. This was the last sentence on record he said before he passed away. And then next in the room, next moment, and suddenly he passed away. So that was the last statement. So we should follow his words, wait and meditate till I call you back. Buddha said, now monks, I have nothing more to say. All that is composed shall decay. You shall strive for your own salvation. So this is Buddha, this is ourselves, and if we do practices, we can become Buddha. So be alert and attentive at every fraction of a second. Please don't lose your awareness for even a fraction of a second. एक क्षण का भी प्रमाद नहीं करना. क्या सोचते हैं, क्या बोलते हैं, क्या क्रिया करते हैं. Watch everything, guard everything. And this is a supreme meditation. So this is the formula of happiness, friends. All we have talked is about, we have discussed. Lastly, do prayers, chanting, meditate daily. Happiness is inside you. Happiness is inward, not outward. And so it does not depend on what we have, but on what we are. So what is the address of happiness? 1 Spiritual Mansion, Meditation Hall, Philosophy Lane, Peace Society, Charity Chalk, Moratoria, Religion Station. Pin code 000 is inside. It is not easy to find happiness. I am again telling you, even though I am talking on happiness, I am doing research on happiness, I also know I have my limitations. So many times that I also miss out. And it's not easy to find yourself, but it's not possible to find it elsewhere. अंदर नहीं तो बाहर तो है ही नहीं, अंदर ही है. Try and so make more and more practice. With more and more practice, I become happier every day. And I wish all of you become happy. The road to success is different from highway to peace. Remember I showed you those crossroads. And that road is different from highway to peace, bliss and longevity. So I started my talk with, do you want to be happy? Then I said, then be. What is the real answer? If you want to be happy, then be, just be yourself. Okay? Stay within. So essay is compulsory. There is no PTO. Okay? So essay is compulsory. Decide every morning that you are in a good mood. Happiness is choice. Thank you very much.
I'll just take half a minute to express our gratitude. Please respect the speaker, just half a minute. It's been a wonderful evening. This is not a seminar or a conference. There is absolutely nothing to conclude. You'll agree with me. It was just everybody, it was scintillating. This we didn't realize almost 2 hours now. I mean, he talked almost 90 minutes. So we are very grateful to you, sir. And as you said, we will have another session on meditation as a lot of people are interested. And and the biggest take home, the simplest things we can really remember is that happiness is a journey and not a destination, and that nobody is perfect and we are all students. I think this 2 simple things carry a long way. And friends, thank you for coming in large numbers. Thank you, Sudhir Bhai, once again. And before we end, I'll request Uday Bhai, son of Dilip Bhai, to give a memento to Dr. Sudhir Shah on behalf of AMA and all of you.
Are you all happy?
Yes.
I am grateful to all of you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming.